Players were solving a puzzle given to them by an NPC who was checking to see if they were worthy of taking on clandestine missions from a nearby duchy. They got into this puzzle, and it seemed relatively simple. They're in a theater. On the stage is an NPC that they're familiar with from the campaign. On the other side of the theater is a palanquin. And if you're not sure what they are, it's the chair that's got four handles that they used to have slaves carry and walk the royalty around. The players had to take the palanquin to the stage. Now, the catch here was twofold. First, there were magical orbs floating around and bouncing around the theater, and if the players got hit by it, it would cause problems for them. And the second one is the NPCs had collars on their necks that were tightening over time. As the palanquin got closer to the stage, the collar would release. And there was a stipulation. If two people were not holding it, or there were only two people only holding it, however you wanted to look at it, the palanquin would reset back to where they started. Players tried and tried. They got through a few different things, but the orbs kept on causing problems. So finally, they started looking through all of the stuff that they had. The DM had given them two special items. And the reason I state this is I had stepped in as a co-DM for a moment here, while my player, who was part of the campaign, was off doing their own thing. The two items were very fun. The first one is it took the reverse gravity spell and gave it a twist. And that was, you could take this item, touch it to an object, and it would change the direction of gravity of your choice. So the player's like, let's make this easier, and we'll make the gravity pull in the palanquin towards the stage. Great idea. Second one was another player who could make a gate. Then when you passed through it one way, it sped you up. And you passed through it another way, it slowed you down. You could only do one gate at a time. So over time, they started thinking about this. They finally got it together, and they put this up. They put the gate in front of the palanquin. Pick it up, push it through. The gate, pull the palanquin, gravity would do its job as the palanquin falls towards the stage through the gate. Now, some of you might already understand what's going on here. For the rest of you, when something falls, once it reaches a certain distance of falling, it reaches what's called terminal velocity. And that's fast. It's really fast. I'm not getting into the math here for this one. You do want me to get into the math, though, we can talk about it elsewhere. But the palanquin hit the gate. Went through the gate. As soon as it did, though, it went a certain distance before it reset back to where it started. Then it went through the gate again. And again. And every time it reset and went through the gate, it doubled its speed over and over and over again, almost instantaneously. Until such point, the NPC on the palanquin could not handle the speed that it was traveling and perished. Unfortunately, because the NPC had perished, it triggered the failsafe on the collars, and the NPC on the stage also perished, much to the dismay of the PCs. Now, I want to state, this was a brilliant idea, using these things in conjunction. Problem is they didn't think about the second tier of what happens when they put them together. And that is the continual growth. Now, I like to go with the rule of cool. Let things happen the way they are, but only to a certain extent. Some of you might think this was unfair. Some of you might think I'm using too much reality in a fantasy game. That's true. But I ask you one simple thing. At what point in time do you ignore the mechanics of a puzzle for the rule of cool? That's a room for discussion. Have fun with your puzzles. Have fun with your homebrew items. Have fun with your players. Let them try new things. Reward them for thinking of new things. That's why I let them try this, because it was a great and wonderful idea. But that doesn't mean ignore what should reasonably happen. Because the other part of this is, let's say we didn't have the infinite speed trap. It travels a certain distance. It's still going to reset because it's not traveling that fast when you put it through the gate. It travels 2 or 3 times through the gate, and then it actually has enough momentum that it can fly forward. And then it smashes into the stage. What happens to the person on the palanquin at that point in time? I let it travel. I let it go. It hits the stage. The person on there, what happens to them? There are many outcomes that go along with this. Discuss with your players as this happens, because that's why we chose it to happen the way it did, is I discussed it with the players. How do you want reality to blend with your fantasy? Reward ingenuity. Reward initiative. Continue to follow reasonable expectations. Now, we'd love to hear from all of you. Do you have any puzzles, any unique interactions, any homebrew combinations that aren't in the book that you would like to share? Please do. I'm sure the rest of the people seeing this would love to hear about your antics. In the meantime, enjoy your games, and I'll see you at the tavern.